Welcome to toy-polloi, Pocket Money Memories.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi and episode 10 of Pocket Money Memories, the series in which I get people to send in stories of them saving up their childhood pocket money to buy that one special toy. Now this is going to be the last episode of Pocket Money Memories. It's been great fun filming all of these and getting everybody to send in their stories, but I want to move on to something new. So let's sit back and listen to the stories that people have sent in for this final episode.
My pocket money memory comes from 1986, so I would have been 11 or 12 years old and getting close to the point where I was too old for toys. Anyway, by this point in time I was long finished with Star Wars when my attention was grabbed by the Mobile Armoured Strike Command, or M.A.S.K for short. Once a month my parents would go to Asda to stock up on household supplies, and I of course would be dragged along. But this wasn't necessarily a bad thing, as I was given the opportunity to visit the toy aisle and purchase something with the pocket money I'd been saving. I was immediately drawn to the fact that M.A.S.K figures were packaged as pairs, which represented great value for money when compared to other toy lines. I of course opted to get the pack with Matt Tracker and Miles Mayhem, the good guy and the villain in one pack. What's not to like? It didn't take long to get used to the smaller scale, and the articulated knee joints and the removable helmets more than made up for the lack of weapons or accessories. I continued to build my M.A.S.K collection during the monthly visits to Asda until I finally succumbed to the theory that I was indeed too old for toys. However, here we are 34 years later, and I can honestly say you're never too old for toys.
Cast your mind back to the late 80s for a small plastic toy that everybody was going mad for. Everybody in the playground was playing with them, they were playing them at home. Small plastic one, quite affordable. I bet you're thinking Micro Machines, aren't you? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Because my pocket money memory is these Ring Raiders and the School Squadron. Look at those. Look at the quality on those. Absolutely fantastic. Now, Christmas morning started it all. So a young eager Stiggy comes running down the stairs at my nana's and expecting Micro Machines. Micro Machines, Micro Machines. That's all I wanted. That's all everybody wanted. It's the 80s. And no, there was a huge box underneath the Christmas tree. And basically, set about ripping the packaging off. And there was a massive toy inside, and it was called Air Carrier Justice, a big fighter flying aircraft carrier, and a load of these were with it in little blisters, and a video. So I badgered and got to watch the video as well in my nana's kitchen, and I was hooked. Okay, all ideas of Micro Machines disappeared completely. It set off a chain reaction because I would do anything for these things. I'd wash cars, I would badger my mum every time, and they used to sell them in W.H. Smith's. So every time we went to Middleton, I'd be like, please, I'd see it in the town near me, like, please, could I have these? And my mum would be like, no, because you've not washed the car when you said that you did it last time. But anyway, I would do anything for them. Thank you, Matchbox, for giving me such fantastic memories and such fantastic playtimes with these things. They're still as cool as ever.
My first pocket money memory is probably going to have to be going to my local Woolworths store in Leicester and seeing these guys. These are the Hasbro Titan Sports line of WWF superstars from the World Wrestling Federation. Characters such as Davey Boy Smith or Hulk Hogan, Big Boss Man or Jake the Snake were household names during this time. And also, if like me, you probably had a Sky One Sports subscription or a Sky One subscription with Diamond Cable. And on a Friday night, you would sit gathered by the TV watching these guys absolutely wreck each other in the ring. Characters such as the Bushwhackers or Legion of Doom came as a special 2-pack, which I believe was about £8.99. Standard figures were £4.99. A ring would cost you something around the prices of £20, maybe £25. And yeah, these were absolutely brilliant figures to have. I remember kids in my playground during secondary school having little mini battles on the playground, seeing who would win. and the loser would probably sometimes have to trade in their figure for something else. These also came with action features, such as Davy Boy Smith here. He had a slam action where you would pick up another figure, put him in his hands, and he would throw him. Characters such as Brutus the Barber Beefcake had a jumping action where you would push down on his torso and he would jump out of your hand. Some of these are my originals that I had as a kid. Some of them I got off of eBay and some I found at Leicester Vintage Toys. But yes, this is probably one of the best memories I have of growing up with toys. Me and my brother, with a ring, reenacting the battles we'd seen on Sky One Friday nights.
Now, I was in about the 3rd grade when the Star Wars movies came on VHS in the Faces trilogy of the 3-pack. Now, every character is someone's favorite. Bossk happens to be mine, and I had been invited to a birthday party. Well, I was taken to one of the local stores and was perusing the toy aisle looking for something to bring, and I found Bossk on the peg. I didn't have Bossk, but I thought to myself, well, if I like Bossk, then surely my friend will like Bossk. So I arrived at the party very happy with myself, thinking I'd picked out the best gift that could possibly ever be bestowed upon another person, only to find out that he didn't care for Bossk at all. So after he'd finished unwrapping his gifts, he quickly handed Bossk back to me and said he didn't want it and that I could have it. And so that's kind of the weird story on how I ended up with my very first Bossk. Kind of bought it for myself in a way, if you think about it, but that's my pocket money memory.
toy-polloi. The most specific memory I have is growing up as a child and getting your weekly pocket money from your parents, and if you were lucky, if my grandparents visited that weekend, then the excitement because I knew there was a chance I could get 2 sets of pocket money, which meant 2 action figures. And I used to visit my local Woolworths store, which is long gone now unfortunately, but they had an excellent toy aisle and selection of vintage Star Wars toys. And I discovered this fairly late, not long, sort of mid-80s, not long before Kenner finished producing them. I was around 5-6 years old, and I bought as many as I could, or convinced my parents to buy me as many as I could, as well as using my pocket money. And sort of once production had finished, sort of mid-80s, and my friends started moving on to things like Thundercats and M.A.S.K and Transformers, I continued to play with these action figures right up until sort of approaching my early teens, when I think they were getting snuck away by then by my parents onto car boot sales, and they just disappeared. I don't really recall too much more about it until I had some time off work when I turned 30, so sort of 10 years ago, and I started to think why I couldn't have these things again. Just because they were toys didn't mean I couldn't have them, and my partner at the time bought me what is now the first thing of what would be now my collection, and she bought me an Ultimate Effects Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi lightsaber, and that pretty much started off my collection. And looking at my current collection just reminds me of that time when I used to charge through the store looking for the toy aisle, and the sort of warmth and charm that it brought me then, and that it still brings me along with nostalgia now.
My pocket money memory is one that happened around late 77, 1978. My family couldn't afford to buy much of the Star Wars. I really didn't have any of the Kenner toys that I have now. When the Star Wars trading cards was in stores, and I think they sold for about 10 cents. This was something that I could do. I knew that there was a way to get these, and I didn't have to get money from my mother. What I did was I scrounged the trash cans, I scrounged the dumpsters. I even went to empty fields where people throw their trash, and trash just accumulated on the empty fields, and I looked for bottles. I looked for as many bottles as I could find, and I would turn them into some kind of recycling place, or it was either a recycling place or the store. I think they were glass bottles too. I would get either 5 cents or 10 cents back, and I would immediately use that money to get the Star Wars collector's cards. And I did that for quite a long time because I was able to get a lot of the cards, as you can see here. This is the red set. That also applies to the yellow set of cards. and the green set of cards, and the orange set of cards, although for some reason I didn't get so many of the orange sets, I don't know why. That's my pocket money memories.
So I wanted to just mention another pocket money memory of mine, which relates to the thing behind me, which is a Britain's Massey Ferguson combine harvester. And I got this from a toy shop in a place called Pemberton, Winstanley's Toys and Prams. They now just sell prams, but they're still open, they're still going as a business, which is great. And one of the two places I used to get stuff from, so I used to get stuff either from Toy and Hobby in Wigan or from Winstanley's, and most of the stuff I bought in Winstanley's was Star Wars and some Action Force, I seem to remember. And also, interestingly, they had a good range of Britain's toys, including some of these guys, the Britain Space range. But this caught my eye, and it would have been 1979, it's quite a long time ago, and I decided that I wanted to get this for my birthday and had to save a little bit of extra, pull together my birthday money basically to buy the thing, in a lovely little box as well, nicely presented in the box. And it's a nice toy, it is plastic, but it's nice and rugged. There's a good amount of detail, there's a little driver in the cab, and the great play feature is as you move it along on the wheels, the combine part moves, and there's a little cutting gear inside that moves as well, so it gives you a nice visual as you play with the toy. And they had an extensive farm range, but I only ever had this, which made it a bit of a strange choice. You can't exactly make this a play scenario with your Star Wars stuff unless you're farming on Tatooine, I guess. So altogether, yeah, it's a memory of mine that sticks in my head, so I wanted to talk about it.
So I would like to share with you the memory of buying my first toy, which, you know, I don't know which of these it was exactly, but it was a Battle Beast, I'm pretty sure. This was a toy series that was out when I was quite young. I don't know when exactly they came out in America. These were in Japan, you know, originally part of Transformers in some way, shape, or form. So the last few episodes or something had Battle Beasts in them, and I just absolutely adored these figures as a little kid. When they, you know, are new and beautiful, fresh out of the box, you get two of them at once. And they each come with a weapon, and they each come with a rub sign. So this one doesn't have his rub sign anymore, but you can see the cavity, the remains of where the rub sign was. This one, the elephant, does actually have a rub sign, and when you applied heat to those rub signs, this one doesn't work anymore, but there was like a sort of a holographic image would come up of fire or water or wood, and I think there was some other one, but I'm blanking on what that was at some point. So one of the things I used to love doing as a kid with these was when you were sick and you had like a fever, you kind of like put them all over you, and all of their rub signs would ignite, and it would just look really cool, and it would, you know, be a welcome distraction from feeling like absolute hell. So anyway, you know, I was an impossible spoiled little kid, and you know, so most of my toys, my parents were extraordinarily generous with me and bought for me. It was really interesting back then, honestly, because even though they were clearly marketed for boys, they were a toy line that a lot of little girls really liked too, because they were animal figures, you know, of some kind or another, even though aside from being animals, they were you know, poised and weaponized and ready to kick some serious ass. I don't remember how much these were originally. I'm positive it was under $5, and again, it was a really good deal because you'd get two of them at once. You'd get two weapons, and you also got the whole rub sign gimmick, which was just, you know, so awesome. So so I know that I bought my first set from Walgreens, which has consistently been an amazing place to get action figures and toys of all kinds since I was a kid, and probably before I was a kid. They were selling toys at Walgreens, at least here in Chicago. Again, I don't remember which of these guys it was exactly the first that I bought, but it was definitely a Battle Beast. That was the first thing that I actually, you know, invested in as playthings, and I loved them then, I love them now.
So that's it for Pocket Money Memories. I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who sent in videos for this final episode, and everybody who's taken part in the previous episodes. It's been really lovely to listen to the stories of your childhood and how you went about saving up money to buy the toys that you really wanted. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.